Namaste. And thank you for joining me for our Hatha flow class. Go ahead and take a comfortable seat. And as we do, begin to settle your body, settle your mind into your space, into the asana practice today. Take some small movements. Again, drawing your awareness inward, feeling what needs to move, what needs a little bit of attention today. What is your body naturally wanting to do? It's important to take a few moments before starting your yoga class, really before starting anything in your day, in your work, interacting with friends and loved ones. Just kind of take in how you're feeling, take inventory, your body, your mood, your mind. Take a deep breath in, hold it at the top. Exhale, open mouth. Begin to take some shoulder shrugs if you're not already. And then bring your hands to the tops of your shoulders. And taking some circles. Lifting the elbows, rolling around the shoulder joints. Big circles with the elbows. And gently stop and switch directions, so join the elbows. In and up and open. See if you can sit up straight here. Try to keep the spine somewhat still and grounded. Taking notice of how things are working. One more big circle. And relax the hands down to the side, fingertips on the mat. Inhale, squeeze the shoulders up. Exhale them down the back, tuck the chin. Lift the sternum towards the chin as you drop your gaze. Shoulders pressing away from the ears. Sitting bones grounding into the mat. One more breath in. One more breath out. Inhale, lift the chin. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And then exhale, plant the hands down in front of you, coming to tabletop. Fingertips spread wide, directly under the shoulders, knees about hip-width distance apart. And find your cat and cow, dropping the belly, lifting the gaze. Exhaling, curling the spine. You're welcome to take these cat and cows in a seated posture if you prefer, if you're some knee issues or don't want to spend too much time on your knees today. Remember, you can always double up the mat to create some extra cushioning for your joints, or use a blanket. Again, you can always take these cat and cows seated if you need a little bit more time to warm up. A few more rounds of breath here. You don't need to exaggerate too much to start, especially if this is one of the first parts of your day. All about moving with the body, starting from the inner core, moving outward. And then coming to a neutral spine, we'll make our way to our bird dog, as it is sometimes called. Reach the right arm up, forward, like you're about to shake hands with someone. And then bouncing on that right side, send that left foot long and back. So you're creating a long straight line. Right arm lifts, left leg lifts. Press out through that left heel. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, curl it in. Knee to elbow underneath you, curling the spine. Inhale to extend. Exhale in. Take your time. See if you can slow it down even more. On your next extension, stay there. Lower the right hand. Bend the knee, drawing that left heel in towards your glute. And then take a few hamstring curls. So dropping the knee, lifting it back up. Try to keep somewhat of a 90-degree angle with your knee and your ankle. Bringing that awareness to the back of the left leg, your hamstring. Lifting and lowering, inhaling up, exhaling down. Just do a couple more. Lower your gaze between your hands. And your last time, keep the knee lifted, extend the leg long, and then lower it back down. Keep the left hand planted, bringing to the center of the mat. Inhale the right arm up, threading the needle. Drop that right hand on the exhale. Cross it underneath you, lowering onto your shoulder, maybe the side of the face. Gentle stretch here. Left hand can walk up overhead. Hips stay over the knees. Breathe into the back of the heart space. Draw that left hand in front of your face. Press into that left hand to reach the right arm underneath you all the way back up. Re-extend before lowering that right hand down. And we'll take that bird dog on the other side. Extend the left arm long this time. Center your gaze. Shift the weight to the left knee. Extend the right leg long. Finding that extension, finding that balance. Press out through the right heel. Reach out through the left fingertips. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, knee to elbow underneath. Finding a cat-like back. Let your breath take you in and long, or in and closed in, and exhaling, closing in. Inhaling long, exhaling, closing in. There it is. Taking your time. Building that strength. Building a little warmth in the body. On your next extension, lengthen. Lower the left hand. Bend the right knee so your heel comes towards your glute. And we'll take some hamstring stretches, or hamstring strengthening rather, curls here, lowering the knee, and then lifting up. Inhaling up, exhaling, lowering that knee down. We're not touching the knee to the mat. If it touches a little bit, you can, but don't take a rest. Try to inhale and lift. Exhale, lower. Little pause. Lower the gaze between the hands. Keep that focus on the inner back leg. Just a couple more. And then inhale it up, keep it lifting a little higher. Exhale, slowly lower, extend long. Lower the knee. Plant the right hand in the middle of the mat. Reach the left arm up and open, opening the heart towards the left side of the mat. Exhale, thread that left arm underneath you, lowering as far down as you can. Grab a prop if you need. Maybe walking the right fingertips overhead, enjoying the stretch. Anytime we get these few rounds of breath in a pose, it's easy for the mind to want to wander if we're not challenged. So tune in. Find the breath. Draw that right hand in front of your face. Press into that hand to reach the other through, lifting up, reaching up. Exhale, plant that left hand down. Shift the hips back over the heels. Child's pose with the arms back behind you. So lower the tops of the hands next to your feet or your ankles. Let the shoulders roll down the back next to your knees. Forehead to the mat or a block or a blanket. Release it down. As you spend a few breaths here, continue to focus that awareness on your body in this moment, in this practice. And then when you're ready, bring your hands next to your face, gently press yourself up to sit. Sink the hips to one side. Walk the legs out in front of you. We're going to take a dynamic seated figure 4. So hips about, feet about hips width distance apart. And cross the right ankle over the left knee. You might need to walk that heel out or shift back a little bit. And then we're just going to take gentle little rocks, left and right. Gently wakening up that right hip. Introducing some movements to the body. If holding yourself up like this is a little too much for the shoulders, you could lower it down and do this on your back as well. And take a few more side to sides. And then we'll switch. So crossing the left ankle over the right knee. Same thing, other side. Lowering to one side and the other. Bringing awareness to the hips, checking in with them. And if you find yourself becoming frustrated with these seemingly simple poses at the beginning of class, that's something important to take note of. We begin by warming up, sometimes silence, sometimes a little bit about the poses or the philosophies behind it to help center ourselves and ground ourselves. And also just to be a full, complete yoga practice. Go ahead and stop your lowering, uncross the legs. Curl the forearms around your knees. Give yourself a hug. Tuck the forehead towards the knees. Spend a few rounds of breath here. Today, I'd invite you to focus on this concept of Ahimsa, which is non-harming. So in yoga, there's 8 paths, not just the asana practices I reference a lot. And the asana practice is just one of the 8 limbs. The first limb is actually the yamas, which are kind of like the thou shalt nots. And the first yama is Ahimsa, non-harming, non-violence. We have to start with that practice with ourselves first before we can extend that out beyond anything else. So in these quiet moments as we open our practice slowly and mindfully, I invite you to take that time to check in, take notice. So through the asana practice, we don't bring any extra harm to ourselves. Go ahead and inhale, release the arms. Lower the knees to either side, soles of the feet together. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, relax the shoulders. So in this practice of non-violence, it takes a lot of self-awareness. So always invite that in at the beginning of your practice. At the very least, do no harm. First to yourself, then to others. And keep that in mind as we move a little bit more today. Take your hands to the outside of your knees, close them together like a book. And lower the knees to one side. And coming up into tabletop, preparing for downward facing dog. Tuck the toes under, lift the knees just a few inches. Send the hips back. Inhale, lengthen a little bit more. We're about 75% of the way to our downward facing dog. So our knees are still bent. Belly is pressing on the thighs. Head hangs down. One more inhale here. And then lift the sitting bones, lift up into your full downward dog, which might not be 100% for you at this point, and that's okay. Remember, non-harming, practicing that compassion, making sure in our effort we find some ease. 3 breaths in downward facing dog. Full inhales. Exhaling out through the nose. And as you look towards the top of your mat, make your way to forward fold at the top, bending your knees as much as you need. Inhale, halfway lift, finding a tabletop at the back of the spine. Back of the neck is long and straight. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees even more. Inhale to stand, rolling the spine up. Arms come up overhead with you. Exhale, palms together, down through heart center. Take a round of breath here. Release the hands to your side. And then inhale, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold, bend the knees. Hinging at the hips, lower the head. Halfway lift on your next inhale. Exhale, fold. Step back to plank or top of a push-up. Or go ahead and lower your knees. I'm going to start here today. On your next exhale, lower the chest between the hands. Untuck the toes. Scoop the heart forward. Relax the shoulders. Cobra. Inhale. Exhale, press it up and back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths in downward facing dog. Fingertips spread wide. Long stance. Back straight. And look between your hands and tiptoe towards the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to plant your hands. Shift the weight to the left leg and take a standing split by sending that right leg back and slowly lifting the right toes off the mat. So we're lifting from our inner right thigh. So you might need to drop your hips a little bit. Head is hanging heavy, lifting from the inner thigh, pressing down into that left foot. One more inhale. Exhale, slowly lower that right foot to meet the left. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand. Curl the spine, roll the spine. Arms come up overhead with you, palms together. Exhale, down through heart center. 1 breath here. Exhale, release the palms to your side. Inhale, up we go. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands. Step the feet back to plank or lower your knees. Lengthen through the spine if you're on your knees so your belly is still engaged. We're not in tabletop, we're leaning a little bit forward. Keep the hips lifted. 1 more inhale. Lower down all the way to the mat. Inhale to cobra, tops the feet, press into the mat, lift the heart. Exhale, press up and back to your downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Remembering to take that internal inventory when we stop in these poses. What feels good? What feels tight? And then using that information to inform how you move to the next pose. Look between the hands, tiptoe towards the top of the mat. Halfway lift when you get there, hands to shins or your thighs. Keeping a slight bend in the knees if you need to. We're not locking them out. Nice and long. Exhale, fold, plant your hands. Keep the right foot planted. Shift the weight to the right foot. Send that left leg back so the tips of your toes are towards the back of the mat. And then inhaling, standing splits, lifting from the inner left thigh. Inner thigh moves you, so this is not an open hip pose. Close the hip by squaring the hip points towards the bottom or towards the mat. Let your head hang heavy, looking back at your knee. Lifting up from the inner left leg. 1 more inhale. Exhale, slowly lower those left toes to the mat. Plant the left foot next to you. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to stand. Arms overhead, palms together. Pulling them down through Anjane Mudra. Prayer hands at heart center. Taking a breath, taking a rest. Exhale, release the palms. Inhale to chair. Send the hips back. As you bend into the knees, reach the arms up. Paying attention, do you need to tuck your tailbone? Do you need to stick it out more? Where is neutral for your spine? And find that. Weight in the heels. Arms up, gaze up. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, plant your hands, step back to plank or to your knees. Lower to cobra on the exhale. Inhale, lift into cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Take your time. If that was too fast, catch up with us. No need to rush. 2 more breaths in your downward facing dog. Bring your awareness to that right foot. Step that right foot forward, warrior one. Spin the back heel down, reach the arms up. Facing the front of your mat with your shoulders and hip points. Hips are closed here. So they're both facing the same way. Spinning that left leg back and in. 1 more breath. And now we're going to open them into warrior two. So heel toe that right foot a little bit closer to the center of the mat. Broadening through the hips, broadening through the shoulders. Left toes begin to face the other side of the mat. Sinking into that front knee. Flip the front palm, reverse warrior. Exhale, warrior two. 2 more breaths. Press the hips forward. And then exhale, cartwheel your hands to the inside of the right foot. Lower the left knee. Inhale, reach the right arm up. Gentle twist in. Inhale, lift a little higher. Exhale, lower the hand to the side of the foot. Step back. Take a cat and cow. And then lower down. Cobra on the inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. 2 more breaths in downward dog. Press your chest towards your thighs. Heels feeling heavy. And find your left foot. Bring the left foot between the hands. Back heel spins down at a little angle. Reach it up on the inhale. Squaring the hips, adjusting your stance as you need. Gaze is forward, sinking into the lunge. 2 more breaths in your warrior one. Squaring the hips and the shoulders forward, closing the hips, working to close those hips. Inhale, reach up a little bit higher. Exhale, spin to warrior two. So now we're opening, broadening through the chest, pulling the hips apart, back heel is down, left heel in line with the back arch. Sinking in. Gaze forward over your front palm. Feel yourself reaching out, lengthening out in all directions. Flip the front palm, reverse warrior. Inhale back to warrior two. 2 more breaths. Stay with yourself, keep the awareness. And then cartwheel your hands to the inside of the foot. You might need to heel toe it over a little bit to give yourself space. Lower the right knee, untuck the toes. Right hand plants. Easy twist in, lift the left arm, turn in towards your left knee. Breathe deep as you look up at your fingertips. Inhale, reach up with the left hand, and then exhale, lower that left hand to the outside of the foot. Step the left knee back, take a cat and a cow. Then lower to your belly. Inhale to cobra. Exhale to downward facing dog. Let a big breath out. Notice the warmth filling your body. Look forward between your hands, tiptoe to the top of the mat or step. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to chair, drop the hips, lift the arms. Squeeze the belly in. Find some peace. 1 more breath in and out. Inhale to stand, reach it up. Exhale, hands to your side. Sitting at the top of the mat, bring the palms to heart center. Take a few moments. And reflect on if you were able to practice that Ahimsa, non-violence against yourself, through those variations of our warm-up, sun salutation A and B's. Bringing not only your spine back into alignment with your breath, but also your thoughts back in alignment with why you chose this class today, why you started your practice. Much of the time it begins with wanting health, wanting peace, wanting strength. All of that starts with our ability to be kind and aware of ourselves. Blink open the eyes, release the hands. Gaze down at your feet. Bending into the knees, sink the hips back, chair pose. Knees bend, arms rise, look up. Exhale, bring the palms together down through heart center, chair twist, lift the right elbow, cross it over the left knee. Press that left knee into that elbow. You're still keeping your weight in both feet, and then begin to turn to look up over your left shoulder. Weight in the heels, one more inhale, one more exhale. Inhale back to center, stay if you can, lift the left elbow, exhale, cross it over to the right knee, hooking that elbow into the knee. Inhale to lengthen, exhale, looking over the right shoulder. Prayer twist. One more inhale. And exhale. Inhale back to center to prayer. Exhale, release, forward fold. Let the head hang heavy. Bend the knees, roll up to stand. And then step your right foot to the back of the mat, preparing for triangle pose. So keeping in mind what we just worked on when we started in Warrior One with the hips closed. That's how we're going to start our triangle pose. So pivot to the back of the mat so your right foot is out in front of you. Your left foot can be a little bit at an angle. And we're going to close those hips. So take your hands to your hips and turn them to face the top of the mat. Adjust your feet as you need. So our hips are closed. Extend the right arm long up in front of you, left arm long behind you. Keeping those hips closed, square to the top of the mat, lower that right hand to the inside of the foot. This is a great place for blocks, props, if you need. Bend into that right knee as much as you need to keep the hips squared and closed. Left arm comes up. Now we can begin to open the hips. So begin to open the hips as you lift the left arm up. Maybe begin to straighten that front right knee. Maybe be even looking up. Press the hips forward. Keep lifting up. Find an intense side stretch, keeping a little space in the right side here. Shoulders are opening. Breath is steady. If it's not steady, just focus on getting it that way. Maybe one day, 1 month, 1 year, you'll be there. Until then, that's why it's called practice. Soft gaze, soft face. Pressing the feet into the mat. On an inhale, begin to lift up out of your triangle pose. Spin the feet to face the edges of the mat. Arms extended. From here, we'll take goddess pose. So begin to bend into the knees, dropping the hips. Cactus your arms. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Press the hips forward. So imagine you are standing against a wall, or if you've got a wall behind you, feel free to back up into it. You don't want to be coming forward here. You want to stay upright. Knees tracking over the feet. So keep spreading the legs apart. Goddess pose. Inhale to five-pointed star, reaching up. Exhale to goddess. Inhaling up, making this dynamic again early in the class. Well, I guess we're about halfway at this point. Still bringing a little bit of movement. Don't worry, we'll stay sunk in our goddess next round. Inhale out to your five-pointed star. Pivot to face the top of your mat, and here we are, ready for triangle on the other side. So squaring the hips forward, grabbing your prop if you need it. Hips come forward, shoulders come forward. Left arm extends in front of you, right arm extends behind you. Begin to fold forward, finding your block, keeping your hips facing in. So this right leg is spinning down and in. Left leg is spinning up and open. Right arm reaches up. Left hand to a block, or pressing your left hand against the inside of your left leg. Now we begin to open. So open the hips, pulling the hip open. This way of getting in of triangle pose. Woo, words today escape me. Getting into triangle pose this way will help build stability in the pose instead of just dumping into it or risking hurting the hip joints by repetitively or staying in these kind of jutting the hip out like we tend to do in triangle pose, or at least I tend to do. A lot of yoga practitioners do. So in our triangle, hopefully you've been breathing this whole time, looking up at your right fingertips, still opening through the hips, lifting, finding some lift, maybe beginning to straighten out that front leg. Run through the heart, finding some peace in the pose. Ground down through the feet. Inhale, reach it up. Pivot the heels so the feet are facing out. We'll give your arms a break, putting your hands to your hips. For goddess pose, begin to bend into your knees. Sink the tailbone down. Hips pull forward, so spinning of the hips open. You can widen your stance if you need. Keep the knees moving over the toes, but try to keep the knees over the ankles. So you don't want to be like this. We're not going into a malasana squat. Keep pressing the hips forward. Now extend the arms, maybe reaching the arms overhead. Palms together at heart center. Draw the hands down. Close the eyes even. Slight tuck of the tailbone. Maybe dropping down a little lower. Focus and stay with yourself. Inhale, straighten the legs, hands to your hips, spin the toes forward, wide-legged forward fold. Hinging of the hips, drop the hands to the mat. Bring the weight forward to your toes as you lift up through your tailbone. Inhale, halfway lift, tenting the fingertips. Stay long in the neck, so look straight down in front of your fingertips. One more exhale. Inhale your hands to your hips. Slight bend in the knees, ground down with the feet as you inhale to stand up and step towards the top of the mat. Palms together at heart center, close the eyes, tuck the chin. Breathe. Let all that sink in. Where can you bring more ease? Is there anything your body's calling out to you that you need to pay attention to? Maybe there's not. Your practice is bringing joy to the moment. Inhaling, exhaling. Gently blink open the eyes. And find warrior two to the back of the mat. So right toes facing, or the front of the mat, wherever you're at. Start with the right foot. Right toes facing forward. Left toes facing the left side of the mat. Reach forward, flip the front palm, reverse your warrior. Looking up at your right palm. One more inhale, expand the right ribs. Exhale to warrior two. Look down and see if you've got a prop handy. If you don't, you might want to set one up a few inches in front of your feet. We're going to be moving to crescent moon. So, or half moon rather, half moon pose. We're bending into that right knee, broaden through the hips. We're open here, open heart, open chest. Reach forward, keeping those hips open. Drop the right hand to your block or to the floor. And then begin to shift your weight forward, lifting the left foot up, maybe. Opening the hip, pressing out through the left foot, pressing down into the right foot and the right hand. Staying here, I'm going to step back a little bit so I don't hit my head. Find a sense of lightness here. It feels heavy to lift our limbs from gravity. But as you stay and build that strength, it gets a little bit easier. Shaking is good. Keep the left hand lifted. Slight bend into that right knee. We're going to slowly drop that left foot back, coming back to warrior two. Reverse warrior. Exhale, warrior two. And 5 pointed star. Hands to your hips. Take a breath, take a rest. Reflect. What felt good? Where did you go too far? Bringing awareness to the other side of the body, being able to like open the eyes, reach the arms out. And turning towards your left foot for warrior two. Taking that block, putting it at the top of the mat, the other side. Bending in, finding your warrior two. Heel aligned with back arch. Open through the hips and the shoulders. Gaze over your front fingertips. Reach it out. Tuck the belly and wrap the ribs in, lengthening up. Don't stick the ribs out. Inhale, reach forward, reverse warrior, and stay. Side body stretch. Preparing for half moon. Inhale to warrior two. Feeling strong in the low body, reach forward, find the block or find the mat. Tense up on those fingertips. Begin to lift up off that right foot, balancing on the left. Press out through a flat right foot. Open hips. Ground down through the left foot. Reaching up with the right hand. For a challenge, you can slowly begin to lift your gaze towards your right hand. Or maybe not. If you need a little bit more of a challenge, you can begin to play with lifting those left fingertips off the mat or off your block. Maybe grab a tail. Reverse your warrior, flip the front palm, lift up and back. Exhale, warrior two, coming back to that 5-pointed star. Slight bend in the knees, hands to your hips, wide-legged forward fold. Then begin to straighten the knees, toes face the top of the mat. Lower the head. Inhale, lift your gaze. Walk your hands towards the top of the mat. Step to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to chair, drop the hips. Reach the arms up. 2 more breaths here. Exhale, fold. Step the feet back, finding plank or top of a push-up. Maybe lowering the knees. It's not cheating. If we're taking care of yourself, non-harm, not hurting ourselves anymore. Lowering down, inhale, lifting up. Cobra pose. Exhale to child's pose. Sinking back over your hips. Maybe you want to widen your knees to the edges of the mat. Hang out. Slowly begin to sit up onto your heels. And make your way to a lizard pose. So bringing the left foot to the top of the mat, bending into the knees. Bringing your hands either to the mat on the inside of the foot or propping yourself up on a block. So if you have a tendency to dump into your hip joints here, I want you to think about how you can strengthen this pose. So this is a closed hip pose. So we're pulling that right hip forward. Maybe that means you need to prop yourself up even more. So relaxing the shoulders. And stay. Maybe you begin to release down. A little lower. Keeping a little bit of activity, pulling that right hip forward, left hip back. Take an inhale, look up. And exhale, walking the hands over the right, pivot on your right heel, coming up. Hands to your hips, move your blocks out of the way. And then we're going to close that hip, so spinning on that heel, facing the hips forward, make your left foot flat. Taking gate pose, extend that left arm down the left leg, reach the right arm up. And then exhale, cartwheel that hand next to you. Supported side plank, lifting that left arm up, lift through that left hip. And exhale, lower that left hand to the mat. Pivot down to your hands and knees, and we'll take lizard on this side. So grabbing your block. This time, the right foot's gonna come in front. Ankle directly under your knee. There you go, now you can see. Right ankle right under your knee. Maybe grabbing a block. Closing the hips. So sending the right hip back, bringing that left hip forward. You want your heart to stay open here, so don't be curled over just to get your hands on the floor. Lengthen through the spine. And walk your left knee back if you need. And just begin to settle down. Focus the gaze. Focus your breath. If you find you're getting a little tired in the hips, notice if it's something you can breathe through and stay with yourself, or if practicing that Ahimsa means letting go of the ego and softening down. Just a few more breaths. If you used a prop, just gently move it out of the way. Inhale, lift the gaze. Pivot that left knee so that the left toes are coming over the right side of the mat. And walk the hands over the left side of the mat. So you're facing the left side. Bring your hands to your hips. And we're going to open the hips towards the side of the mat by spinning on the toes, pressing that right foot down the back of the mat. Taking gate pose, extend the right hand towards the right leg, lift the left arm up. Bending in towards the right side. Exhaling, curling in. Inhaling, reaching the left arm up all the way to the floor. Supported side plank, right hand comes up. Lift up through that right hip and the right arm. And then exhale, bringing that right hand to meet the left. Bringing the knees to the mat. Coming back to your heels. Big exhale. Bring the palms to heart center. And from here, we'll take camel pose. We continue on. So coming up onto your knees. If you've got that block, I recommend putting it between your legs so you can squeeze your legs in towards the block so they don't want to splay out or in. Nice and strong in the lower body. But we've done enough lower body stuff that you should be feeling pretty strong and warmed up there. So here we're going to press the hips a little bit forward. Relax the shoulders down the back. Hands are on your hips. Begin to lift through the sternum. Lift through the heart. Maybe you begin to walk your hands back as you press the hips forward. Lift the heart up. Maybe you can reach back, tuck the toes under so you can reach back for your heels. Lifting the heart. Maybe you stay here. Remember, non-harming. In our back bends, including camel, think of expanding the circle, making the circle wide and circular, less than trying to reach your hands back just for the heck of it. Slowly coming out to your camel, bring your hands to your waist. Slowly lifting up. Spend a moment here. Let the head recalibrate. And then gently remove the block if you have one between your legs. Sit in that quiet, restful moment allowing the body to recover from the pose, letting all the goodness cycle through the body. And then we'll be moving to rabbit pose. So if you're new to rabbit, you might want to watch this demonstration first. So we're already on our knees. We're going to lower down almost like child's pose. We're going to extend the arms behind us and grab the heels. Forehead comes to the mat. Hug everything in and begin to lift up through the hips. Press the feet into the hands. You'll feel it in the back of your shoulder blades. And then you're going to gently roll to the crown of your head. So keep the weight in the neck minimal, if at all. Keep lifting up through the hips. You'll feel a stretch in the shoulders and the shoulder blades. Keep the grip on the heels, tops of the feet pressing into the mat. Spend 3 rounds of breath here. Again, light in the head. Keep the legs and the feet pressing down. Exhale, slowly release, rolling to the forehead, extending the arms overhead, child's pose. And then slowly roll the spine to sit up. Shift your hips to the left. Extend the right leg long for head to knee pose. And here you can prop up the knee if your leg doesn't lay flat. You can also sit up on a block here on this posture as well. You might want to play around with how that feels. Left sole of the foot is tucked into the right thigh. Inhale, reach the arms up. Right arm comes to the right leg. Left arm lifts up as you reach the fingertips towards the ankle. Maybe your elbow lowers. Finding some length in both side bodies. Keep the heart open. If you want, you can lower that left arm and bring the back of the palm to the back of the upper chest, or the upper back. Or you can wiggle those fingertips into the crease between your hip and your torso for a bind. Wherever you're at, we'll spend 3 more rounds of breath here. Letting go, loosening down. On an inhale, gently sit back up, and we'll switch sides. Bring the right sole of the foot in, left leg extends out. Bring the right sole of the foot into the left thigh or thereabouts if you're up on the block. Reach the arms up overhead, grow tall, but relax the shoulders. And then tilt towards the left. Left arm extends out over the left leg. Fingertips reaching for the ankle. Right arm reaches up. Bring the elbow to your leg or a block if you can't get down that far. Keep the heart and the shoulders open. Maybe lowering that right hand. Back of the hand to the back of the shoulder blades or to your waist, or taking the bind. Slow, steady breaths. On your inhale, slowly begin to sit up. Bring the soles of the feet together. If you're sitting up on something, go ahead and move that down. Holding the feet or the ankles in your hand, roll the shoulders down, lift the heart, finding a cow breath in, and then exhaling, reaching the heart forward over the toes, coming to a forward fold over our bound angle. Drop the head of the neck. Exhale through open mouth. Let everything go. Two more breaths here. Inhale, halfway lift. Just lift the gaze. And then begin to sit up. Bring the hands to the outside of the knees. Close them together like a book. Lower onto your back for bridge pose. You can take supported bridge here by placing a block underneath your sacrum, or if you'd like to take active bridge, it's up to you. Walk the heels in, forearms to the mat. Straight and relaxed neck, looking straight up at the ceiling. On an inhale, press the feet into the mat, lift the hips. If you're taking the recline version, you can bring a block somewhere between your low back and your tailbone. You might need to wiggle it around a little bit to find a comfortable spot. And I recommend the lowest setting to start. If you're still lifted and bridge, take another big inhale. Lower on the exhale. When you're ready, press up again. Hold for 3 rounds of breath, if you can. Lower on the 4th exhale. If you're in the supported bridge pose, just relax it down. Allow the shoulders to gently open. And if you'd like to lift your block 1 level higher, totally optional. Maybe you want to remove the block. But preparing for our last bridge, press the feet into the mat. Inhale, lift the hips. Adjust the block if you'd like. Lower the hips down onto the block or stay lifted if you're taking the more active version. Breathe deeply in, expand the chest. Stay for the exhale. Inhale, lift up a little bit higher. If you're on your block, lift up. Move the block. Everyone exhale, slowly lower down. Take a gentle windshield wiper left and right. And extend the legs long. And taking a big stretch. Point your toes, reach the fingertips up overhead. Exhale, curl the knees in. Give yourself a hug. And then drop the knees to the right. Extend the left arm out next to you. Look over your left shoulder. Gentle twist. Relax the shoulder blades towards the earth. Relax the jaw. Take a final fill up of air and exhale it through open mouth. Lift the gaze to the ceiling. Bring the knees to center. Squeeze them in, giving yourself a hug. Before dropping the knees now to the left side, extending the right arm long next to you. The gaze follows over the right shoulder. Both shoulder blades grounded on the mat. Releasing through the knees and the legs. Softening the gaze. Take a final deep inhale. Open mouth exhale. Lift your gaze to the ceiling. Bring the knees in. Happy baby. Reaching between the knees, grabbing your toes, your ankles. Rocking left and right. And then come to stillness. Draw the knees down. Pull the toes straight down. Knees come down. Shoulders pressing away from the ears as if you could straighten your spine. Tuck the chin, engaging the throat lock. Tuck the belly in. 2 more breaths. And inhale, release. Lower the legs to the floor, finding Shavasana. Taking a little stop at any final movements, postures that you'd like before settling into our final resting pose. Release a big breath of air. Close the eyes. Starting with the tips of your toes, scan the body up, relaxing each inch as you go. Allowing the breath to become automatic. Allowing the thoughts to gently float by without attachment to them. Feel the back of your head, safe and supported on the mat beneath you. You allow yourself this peaceful rest. Allow yourself to let go. I'll bring you back in a few moments. Take a final breath in your Shavasana. Exhale out through the mouth. Bring some small movements to the fingers and the toes. And gently roll to one side of the body. With some small movements, ever so gently, begin to press yourself up to sit. Keeping the eyes closed if you're able. Bring the palms together, heart center. And lower the gaze to the tops of the fingertips. May the practice of listening and supporting yourself, bringing positive thoughts and positive movements within, carry over off the mat, out of your own body and mind into the world, bringing more healing and love. Thank you for sharing this class with me. I'll see you next time on the virtual mat.